Bad Guys is easily one of Dreamworks' best movies in the last 5 years, and this is one that many of you guys are going to have a blast with. If you got kids, if you're an adult, this is a great time at the movies. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today we're going to be discussing The Bad Guys. This is about several reformed yet misunderstood criminal animals who attempt to become good with some disastrous results along the way. Starring a voice cast of Sam Rockwell, Awkwafina, Mark Maron, Craig Robinson, Richard Ayoade, Anthony Ramos, and Zazie Beetz. This movie has a lot of fun in there, and for me, this is a heist film for most of it. And for me, if you don't know, I love heist movies, so this was like right up my alley. And I was just wanting a really solid animation film, and I was actually quite surprised that this is a really good animated film, the one that I actually am clamoring for more. I know this is based off a book series that has tons of different books, so there are so many different adventures that these characters can go on, and I'm clamoring for it right now because this is a really good movie, and I think a lot of families are going to have a blast this weekend with it. Of course, before we get any further into this review, if you guys are new here and you love talking movies as well make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as comment down below your guys' overall thoughts. Have you heard about this movie? Have you seen the books? Are you excited for it? Let me know down below. Starting on with this movie, one of the things that I really much want to talk about first is the animation style here. It kind of is very much reminiscent of what Spider-Verse had done a couple years back, which I thought was so brilliant. But The Bad Guys does it in its own unique style and cel-shaded vibe that for me personally, was so surprised by. The trailers for me never really gave me much hope for this film, and I thought the animation looked cool in the trailers and the posters and all that stuff, but for me, this film actually elevated and really became something of its own, and especially in this style, because I think many people are starting to think that maybe people are trying to copy Spider-Verse, but they take that tone, that animation style, and flip it and try something different, which is just something that I'm really happy to see other studios are trying. Pixar has been starting to do this more, a little bit of a difference, whether it's with Luca or Turning Red, and now it's great to see that Dreamworks is kind of doing the same thing within this one. Really much, I guess the best film to kind of point this as a reference to with animation style would be The Mitchells vs. the Machines last year. Animation is stunning, and it fits so well within all of the heist elements of this, especially within the opening shot. The entire opening heist that we get in here that really enhances you and brings you in here and introducing all these characters is so bombastic, so thrilling, and very much that is the entire film. This is a thrilling animated film that, it's not perfect. I have some issues towards it, but I really was brought about in such a way when all the different action moments are really brought about, especially in the way that he's driving the car, I just thought was very exciting. And I think that's something that we don't get a lot of in films right now, and I was very much just impressed with The Bad Guys overall because of that. Adding in there as well, the voice cast actually is great. Sam Rockwell does his George Clooney here, but in his own style, playing the wolf. And for me, it kind of gave me reminiscence, because the film overall is kind of like Ocean's 11 for kids, but also has a little bit of a vibe from Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I love both of those movies, so that was great to see in here. But Sam Rockwell as our main protagonist is fantastic. Mark Maron as the snake and their relationship works so well. Awkwafina as the tarantula I thought was a lot of fun. Craig Robinson as the shark, great, but for me the big standout of this actually was Anthony Ramos's the piranha. And I thought he stole like every single one of the moments in here, and really much the humor works for the entire runtime. There's jokes for kids, there's jokes for adults. This is that clear cut back to the basics of what Dreamworks used to do, and I miss that, and I'm so happy to see that The Bad Guys carries that and more. I think that's just the thing, is that the movie keeps you on your feet. It's energetic. It's an hour and a half, and while it doesn't feel like an hour and a half, it's an hour and a half of fun. And for me, when you're trying to see these bad guys turn to good and maybe that's not really working out, there's a great moral message between this. There's two really big messages in here. One is judging a book by its cover, which I think is great for kids and really much just great for everyone. Because how many times do we judge a book by its cover? Everyone's done it once in their life, but this film really plays on that in a great way. The other thing is why do we want to be good? Is it so we get the satisfaction of people being like, good person, or hey, like you deserve this, or why do we want to be good? And I feel like this film actually establishes the best reason for why it is to be good. And while as cheesy and cliche as that sounds, sometimes you just need to be a good person. And I really like that this movie kind of touches on that there might be no reward for it, but that warm fuzzy feeling that you get inside from being that good person is kind of what makes it best. I think that's where parents will really much appreciate the message in this movie, but that's where I do want to get to my issues with the film. Now, kids aren't going to care about this, and probably even some adults won't, but honestly, like I mentioned, at an hour-and-a-half runtime, this film does feel way longer, and a lot of that is because it does get a bit repetitive within certain instances of introducing characters, giving us this moment, and going here. While I've never read the book, and I don't know if the book actually has those same moments, or maybe it's all from the first one or a couple put together, I personally wish that they would have maybe pulled back from some of the introduction or even some of the repetitive elements. There's a whole little segment that I probably last about 10-15 minutes. I probably would have taken that entire thing out and introduced this in a different way. Again, if it's a straight adaptation from the books, that's sometimes where the issue becomes. If they were trying to do something new, that's also where an issue can come to. So there's something in there not working where the pacing does drag a little bit to the point where the film ends and I was like, whew, finally. And while I was enjoying my entire time throughout there, it did feel like it blew out its steam a little bit too soon, as energetic and fun as it was. Another thing about it is, again, kids won't care about this. The film is very, very predictable. I knew point A to point B to point C on every single level and every single thing of what was going to happen in here, and that might bother some. It's an animated film, so I really didn't care too much, but it's whatever. It's cliche. Other than that, The Bad Guys is such a thrilling amount of fun. I laughed, I smiled, and even got that warm, fuzzy feeling that the bad guys got when maybe they started to become good. A fantastic message about not judging a book by its cover, but also why we should be good. This film has it all. It has a great voice cast, and it's just a ton of fun. So with all that said, I'm going to give The Bad Guys a B. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching this. You guys are really all the best. Make sure again to hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below your guys' thoughts. I gotta hear your guys' thoughts. Do you guys agree that this is one of the best Dreamworks films in a while? Let me know down below, as well as make sure to head on over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early, because that's the best way to get giveaways and even get up to date on all the early movie news. But of course, until next time, stay classy.